Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what is one never have, never will thing for you? You know those hardcore mountain biking videos shot from a GoPro atop the biker's head? Yeah, that. I know someone who does these. Comes into work every Monday looking like he's had a fight with a lion. I ride bikes and people always ask if I MTB, and buddy, have you ever seen me with a cast? Drugs like crack, heroin. Edit, I'm talking about before me lying in my deathbed, then I want to try all the shit. I had a fun 10 minutes with a group of partiers yesterday. One of the guys asked me if I did cocaine. I told him no, that with my psychological history and my brain chemistry, I will never touch any addictive substance like that ever. He understood, and seemed to really respect my answer. That's how it should be. Very nice that he didn't try to push you. Meth, and other similarly hard drugs. I was given a line of meth by a coworker. I thought it was one of those White Cross pills crushed up. Holy Mother of God, I can really understand why people get addicted. I had an emergency procedure performed in the hospital and they gave me an IV with morphine. The moment they released the morphine, I was like, oh, this is why people get addicted to morphine. Holy shit. Quote, your coworker is an asshat for that NGL. Same, it is pretty awesome. I went from snorting, to smoking, to shooting it within a month. Luckily I don't have an addictive personality and I walked away from it. Cheating whilst in a committed relationship. I firmly believe that cheating on someone when you are an adult, in long-term committed relationship, is perhaps the worst thing you can do without breaking the law. That may sound dramatic, but it fucks people up on such a fundamental level, often for years. I say this as someone who had been on both sides. If you want to see other people, communicate. If you want to break up, do it. And if you just want to have your cake and eat it too, so to speak, then you're just a cunt, aren't you? And same goes if you're the third party. Without breaking the law, if you're married and in one of 16 states in the US. Or some number of countries I'm too lazy to look up, it is against the law. Day in a room with a flying cockroach. Look behind you. I hope your socks are moist. Smoke. I never had and never will smoke due to many people in my family have cancer and I don't want to get something they wish they never had. I have smoked, but for me it's chewing tobacco. I just can't understand the appeal of it at all. It's like putting shit inside your lip. The appeal is you get nicotine without smoking. For people like miners or soldiers where having a lit cigarette would be dangerous, but they still want that vitamin N. Some newcomers prefer vapes and pouches, like ZYN, but it's kinda become a cultural institution at this point. I've never liked heights and never will try bungee jumping. A broken rubber brought me into this world, a broken rubber will not take me out. Caving, dick pics, heroin. In no particular order. If you're a big thrill seeker, try all at once. You haven't lived until you have taken a dick pic in a cave while on heroin. Give birth. I'm not a fan of children and the whole ordeal looks terrifying. Same, but I am a guy too. We'll fight for everyone's right not to have a baby. People are always bothering my single, 30s, happily child-free friend about when she's going to have a baby. If I'm in the room, I say, she really likes just being an auntie to my kid, or, I wanted my kid, and it's still really hard on me. If she doesn't want kids, she shouldn't have them. My kid is amazing and my favorite little guy ever, but the thing is I wanted to have him. I hate people going around recommending everyone have a kid because they enjoyed it themselves. I hated every minute of being pregnant, and I have my days where I'm at the end of my rope. It would be misery x 1000 if I didn't want a kid. I had one, but she died. Or, I've tried, but miscarried 5 times already, generally shuts those dumb folks up. And might keep them from asking the next person. Our friends have 2 kids. One just turned 2 last month and the other is 6 months. They wanted kids and went through a lot to have their first. My wife and I love helping our friends when they need it, playing with the kids and getting to see them grow up. But God, did it really confirm that we don't want kids of our own. We were over at their house recently and both kids were screaming at the same time you like 10 seconds and I was so overstimulated I thought my head was going to explode. That was just a short burst of it. I can't imagine that constantly. I'll stick with being the fun uncle who gets to go home later, haha. I will never go skydiving, heights terrify me. Licensed jumper here, I can sort of echo something every skydiver talks about, but I might be wrong, so here's my experience. 1. Well, it isn't really the height up there. At that point, you don't perceive how high you are, compared to being on a ladder or roller coaster. Wasn't really too scared since I wanted to do this since I was a kid, but my first thought when we jumped out was, wow. 2. The jump out doesn't have that heart-dropping feeling that you'd expect, you're sort of just floating and falling. 3. The first time, for those scared, ends in bliss. Will Smith's narration on it describes it perfectly. You realize that at the point of maximum danger is the point of minimal fear. His video on jumping out with his family. 4. The people attached to you have 2 parachutes and a computer that will save your life if something goes wrong. They're also trained in what they're doing, except at Skydive Lordy, sometimes having 500 or even 1,000 jumps in the books before they can even take someone on the ride with them. 5. The canopy you're under is huge, so it's a slow descent to the ground. 6. I can talk about myself here. Most times where things end in the bad way come from human error. I almost broke my legs because I was playing around with my rises on a landing. First thing I did was jump right up and run around to make sure I wasn't disabled. Thankfully, it was just some mild back pain for a few weeks and I was back jumping again a few days later on a canopy course. I'll always recommend someone try skydiving, especially if it's with a trained jumper. If you DM me your city, I'll send one your way that has some clout. Edit, I'm getting lots of messages. Check out skydiving to read more experiences about the sport. My DMs are still open. I've been skydiving twice and both times I felt nothing. I was too disoriented to know what we were doing before the chute opened, and once it opened it felt like zooming in on Google Maps slowly with a man's penis pressing into my back. As someone who almost died skydiving, I'd say you're making the right choice. Well, I for one, would like to hear from someone who has died from skydiving. I've never earned $1 million in a year and I never will. Move to Venezuela, my friend, don't let your dreams be dreams. Is Venezuela giving away $1 million to everyone? An Alexa or other in-home listening assistant. Yeep. My phone is more than enough. I have some bad news about your mobile device. Last night we were talking about needing to fix the roof before the rain starts up, and literally not even 5 minutes later my brother's Galaxy phone started sending him ads on roof installers. That shit is listening all the time. Open relationships. Go on a cruise. It sounds horrific to me. So many people. No, my so refuses to cruise. His boss was a former medical director of a cruise and saw too many horrible things spread in a contained space. We aren't germaphobes, but with that many people in close proximity with no escape, too many illnesses get passed around. I've been on 2 and never considered this. We got a bit of a cold on our most recent one, but I also work in a school, so it's not uncommon for me to constantly pick up bugs from people anyway. I have however got more ill from flying. I caught COVID on the last 2 planes, airports, and before that I picked it up at an outdoor festival. I don't think any holiday or break would be germ-free. Someone called it adult summer camp, and that's the first time I've ever seen the appeal. I don't want to be stuck floating in the middle of an ocean for days or weeks or whatever. But an environment where I show up and don't have any real responsibilities and someone else plans activities and meals. My dream TBH. One of the reasons I don't love traveling is I hate making so many decisions and plans. I doubt I'll ever do one, but I can see some of the appeal. Run a marathon. I've never voluntarily run 26 miles, and I'm not about to start unless there's free pizza at every mile marker. Running 26 miles for pizza is almost crazier than just running. IDK, thinking you can run 26 miles while increasingly full of pizza is the craziest part of all this. Even half a slice per mile is way too much pizza. I never have done bath salts, and it may surprise you, but I do not feel enticed to do it. Never used essential oils either. Really makes you wonder how essential they actually are. Should be called optional oils. Essential actually comes from the word essence, as in containing the essence of XYZ. Not that they are essential to anything. Hot air balloons. Just went on my first ride last month. It was very relaxing, but I understand the fear. So relaxing they're quite boring actually. It's like the Vista Point pullouts, but where you have basically the same view for an hour. It is calm and quiet, though. Yeah, no, fuck that shit. I speak as the child of someone who was in a hot air balloon accident, survived thankfully. You do not want to get in one of those things. No, I don't need to try your death pepper inferno sauce. Keep it for yourself. Food shouldn't hurt. My brother loves that stuff so much, he wore a hole in his esophagus where it connects to the stomach and ended up digesting and shitting out half the blood in his body before he went to the ER. They didn't believe he wasn't an alcoholic until he told them just how hot the hot sauces he was regularly eating were. He doesn't do that so much anymore. TikTok. I've made it this far not watching the videos people send me. Why start now? Yep, Reddit eats enough of my time. I am proud to say I have never seen a single episode of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, The Kardashians, or any of the Real Housewives. Zero interest. A calm mind. The realest answer yet. Vote for Trump. Me either, and I will be so happy when that SOB isn't relevant anymore. He can't live forever. Licking booty holes. No thanks. That's plural. How about a single booty hole? Not a single booty hole. Becoming a parent. No thanks. I am a parent, but I wholeheartedly support anyone's decision to not go down that road. Too many people don't realize they aren't ready until it's too late. I wish more people were as self-aware as you. As a special ed teacher, I wish people wouldn't be sold this illusion of being a parent is always super fulfilling, and while you get told that it's hard, I think a lot of people have no realistic expectations about how hard it really is. And what kind of person you need to be and what environment you need to have to do it successfully. A lot of parents I deal with regret having children. I think they had no idea how hard it is and that the circumstances they live in aren't best for children. But they have children because that's what you do.